So basically what I'm doing is a journal of events and my feelings and my reactions when I was working at PAIS this past semester, and I thought it'd be more personal if I could share it with you through a video per se, rather than actually just document my words, because sometimes you can't really portray what you want to get out, and you can see through the reactions of my face, whatever, so on and so forth. So I hope you enjoy my video project, and yeah, okay, thanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about my first reflection first with Jen, and then we're going to go into my first encounter at PAIS. Okay, so starting with the first reflection. Well, when I first met Jen, she was the nicest person. She emailed us, and she was, like, very, very easygoing, and we met, and we kind of, like, she just introduced us to PAIS a bit, saying, like, she worked there the previous semester, and she was also aware of the movement, the Half the Sky movement, and she, like, just started reading the books, and you know what, she was just very laid back, very, like, go with the flow. It was awesome, because she didn't make us, like, nervous, or, like, it wasn't intimidating at all. Like, she related to us, and she was like, yeah, she was like, she said she loved PAIS and working with Miss Lalo. She said it was awesome, and you know what, I was, like, at that point, I was, like, really excited, to go to the school. But when we first, went to PAIS for the first time, I met Miss Lalo, sweetheart of a woman. She actually reminded me of this woman that I know in high school. Her name is Rosalie Tierno, and they kind of do the same thing, actually, because it's really funny. Rosalie runs student organization, student council, senior council, consultative council, and she runs all the student activities for the school, as well as she directs this production that we do to sing, whatever. Ms. Lalo is the literacy coach, and then she directs yoga, and then she puts on other events that involve the community service in the school as well. And then I know she's running around doing other events as well. So they kind of both remind me of each other, which was really comforting, because when I went into PAIS, like, I loved high school. I loved high school. And, like, my immediate reaction when I went in was like, wow, this is like Tottenville all over again. And it was nice. I did notice that the community of students at PAIS was largely Hispanic. And it was kind of cool because my father speaks Spanish. So, like, just hearing it, like, I don't speak Spanish personally, but, like, you could just hear it, and it was, like, it was nice. When I met Miss Lalo, she introduced us to the art history teacher. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Art and community teacher. She's the art teacher of the school. She introduced us to Miss Gormley, and then the junior teacher, but I'm working directly with Miss Gormley in her senior advocacy class. And basically she introduced she didn't really go into Half the Sky that much, but what she did go into was the bone making event, which is called 1 Million Bones. And it deals with the genocide and humanitarian crisis in Sudan, Somalia, Burma, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And what it does is it raises awareness, and for every bone that's made, they get donations from people. And we were just talking about, like, how we could make the bones with the teachers. It wasn't really student-based. We did go to yoga after, but it wasn't really student-based. This is more just talking with the teachers and a basic, like, introduction to what we were doing, how we would make the bones, where the event would be, how many students would be there, how many we need. And then after the meeting, we quickly went into yoga, and that's where she showed us a basic introduction of the 1 Million Bones. And then she just showed us a clip on Half the Sky, a very short clip, but she didn't really go into it per se. But we did have background from Jen. And I'm really excited, and working with my CL, Miss Lalo, and all the teachers of PAIS, as well as the students, like, you know what, I think it's going to be great, and I think it's going to be a wonderful semester, and I'm very excited. Thanks.
We just got back from PAIS, and we were organizing our bone making event for the Million Bones, which will be displayed in Washington, D.C. in June of 2013. What the bone making event is doing is raising money for oppressed children in foremost, like, Africa, and it gives to those those groups of people which are experiencing oppression. What we're doing is we're making bones out of paper mache, but first what we're organizing with this event is where to hold it. And we thought that we would hold it at the school in the cafeteria on a Friday and offer an incentive to the students, which would be to come and you get community service hours, you get extra credit, so on and so forth. And how we're making these bones is we're going to wrap them in like tubes, like plastic tubes, and then we're going to wrap them with newspaper, tape them, and then after we tape them, the art class, it's an art class focused on the global community, what you can do in the global community, and they're paper macheing them. So that's what we're doing, and the event is on a Friday, and what we're going to try and do is make as many bones as we can, and then figure out the following days what we have to, like how many other bones that we have to make, because the school itself has to do 1,500 bones to cover, and then in total, which are displayed at Washington, D.C., there's 1,000,000 bones all outside of a museum in Washington, and they're down the street, and it's very, very nice. And it raises money for a great cause. And it's just nice that you bring the school together as well to get involved in such a nice event. Okay, bye. We just had the bone making event. Oh, and it was awesome. There was, I would say, around about like 30 to 40 students there, all making bones because they need to make 1,500 quite soon. And they're going to need one more bone making event. But, however, it was really nice because, like, all the students, mainly seniors, were there. And they were doing it, and their teachers, like, promoted them to go for community service hours. And we made, like, the paper mache bones out of, like, what we did was we used plastic, like, plastic containers, and we would wrap them in, we'd wrap them with newspaper. And then, yeah, and we would tape them, and then what they were going to do is they're going to paper mache them in the following class, the art and community class, yes. It was really nice. It kind of reminded me of high school, and I always, like, go back to this, but I was in this group called Student Organization, and we basically did the same thing, and the kids were very close, and, like, that's how my high school was. Like, Yuga was my, like, student organization was the same thing as Yuga for me. And, like, what we would do is, we always used to plan events, whether they be, like, local events or, like, global events. Like, what did we do? We did the Walk for Wells. We did a fundraiser where we had to, like, bring in, it's actually cool because we had to bring in, like, water bottles and, like, sell them off just for, like, for those purposes. We also had to bring in athletic equipment, and then, like, we do a ton of local events. We did, like, things with the school, with my school's athletic program. We would do the penny harvest, anything with breast cancer awareness, March of Dimes, the walk for suicide prevention. We would do all those things, and it just reminds me of the Yuga Club because it's a group of, like, foremost seniors that come together and just work together, and at these events they have a great time, and it shows how close everybody gets from it. And you know what? It's working together in unity and for a particular cause. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Okay, thanks. We just got back from PAIS, and what we did today was we worked in the classrooms. We did a lot, actually. Well, with mentoring the students. I worked with a table of seniors who were writing essays. What they do is they start, the teacher does, she starts off them on the right track to do their senior advocacy project. So what they were doing was they were writing an essay, and they were preparing their PowerPoints for this presentation that they would give to the class based on labor exploitation. And the couple of girls that I was working with, one did hers on banana labor exploitation, Nike exploitation, Walmart, and Victoria's Secret. And what I was reading her note cards, and basically what it had is the exploitation of the workers, for example, with Nike, how they're taken advantage of, and also with fair trade versus free trade, where laborers are underpaid significantly to promote free trade, but how there's fair trade trying to be implemented.
one girl, I reread her essay, and I was trying to, this is at like the nick of time, but I was trying to revise with her. I did send her my email and my phone number just to act as like a mentor to her, to see if she would want me to read anything else. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to expand their awareness in the global community. And by doing these projects, they could realize the negatives in society and look to further them and improve them and to change the world to be a better place. All right. Thank you.
This past week was short. We didn't go to the classes today, but instead we met for yoga, and it was a small group, and we basically spoke to the two students that were there. It was Candido and then another student. We had like a culture conversation, and we were talking about they came from the Dominican Republic. Candido, for example, recently, like 6 years ago. And we were just talking about like different foods that we like, especially I relate to them because of my Venezuelan impact on my life, because my father was raised there. So like 2 weeks ago when we were at PAIS, and at PAIS we were bringing up the Half the Sky movement and how we changed it to having it at the cafetorium, excuse me, in the school. And what we're doing is we're basically having this event. We're showing the shorter version of Half the Sky and little clips of it to raise support for the movement. And we're also having refreshments and beverages and food served at the event to raise money as well for the school and for their student council in specific. What else are we doing? We talked about how we were starting this cupcake fundraiser, and basically what they do is you make these cupcakes and they're tie-dye, and these cupcakes you could sell them to any specific fundraiser that you like, and it raises money, and it's just a certain way to make them. They're just that you sell the tie-dye ones. So basically we covered those two events. We held yoga in the classrooms. The students were working on their brochures, and we were helping them with that. Their brochures were on exploitation. Yes, they were in exploitation and poverty in a specific country that they look for. One of the girls that I was helping, she was looking into Bolivia as well as Argentina, and she was looking into that. She was trying to get facts from the UN, from maps, and so on and so forth. Okay. Well, that's basically what we did. We covered those four. We covered the classroom, we covered yoga, and then what we were supposed to do in the future. The yoga event would be held on Friday, November 16th, and basically that's it. Okay, thank you. So we just got back from PAIS, and what we did was we're getting ready for their Giving Tree event, and it's really cool actually because with the Giving Tree, they're using their advisors. The advisors are like their guidance counselors per se, or like our advisors, and like they basically make their schedules for them, help them out. So whoever brings the most gifts to for their particular family actually gets to go to the International Institute of Rhode Island, and they get to go to the holiday party for their family. It's really cool. So with the Giving Tree, it's kind of like a Giving Tree that you find in Catholic Church. Basically, it has cards on it that have like specific things that you need to buy. But rather, with the International Institute, they're a little larger, and it's like because you have an advisor, you could get an entire family. I last went to PAIS. What we did with the students in Miss Gormley's class was we worked on their presentations, which were due the following day, and they're the Millennium Goals. So what they had to do was, like I said, they had to pick a goal. They were given an assigned goal, and they had a 5 to 8 minute presentation on it the following day. So we were basically just helping them wrap up their projects, last minute work. And then in yoga, what we had to figure out was we had to figure out another bone making event. And that was where we like left off, and they were just trying to get new projects started for the after our semester, like what they could do in January and so on and so forth. They were trying to do
the Beads for Life, get that more involved. Hopefully next semester I'm looking back to go to PAIS, and I really enjoyed it. And the time that I spent at PAIS was absolutely amazing. I got to meet Miss Lalo, and I got to work with the students, and you know what, I was able to contribute to them what I know, but most importantly, they were able to contribute what they know to me, and I felt like that was most important, that they were able to give me back something while I was able to give them something. And that's what I ultimately think was the biggest part of my service learning, was taking what I know and helping other people, but at the same time learning something different and something from other people. Overall, while working at PAIS, my favorite movement per se that I would like to get involved with is the Half the Sky movement, because I really wasn't, I think, like I said in my self-reflection essay, I really wasn't 100% aware of the extent of women's oppression in the Middle East, in Asia, and in Africa. And you know what, like, when they started to show the pictures of the children, the little girls who faced the oppression, it's devastating. And I hopefully during this next semester I look to read the book, hopefully get involved in the movement. I do like Nicholas Kristof's work, and I hope to enjoy the book. I mean, it is depressing at the same time, but I would like to get involved in the movement. Hopefully, if I do go back next semester, I could work with Miss Lalo on the movement. Yeah, overall, just working at PAIS, I was inspired by those kids and their determination to learn more about their community, and it's kind of nice that they were given that chance to do the work. Thank you. Okay, so basically, I wanted to just add in, like, kind of like a personal, like, account-ish thing of what, like, specific things that I liked about PAIS. One thing I really liked, but unfortunately I really couldn't experience this as much, I liked that, the class with How the World Works. It was the junior teacher. I worked in the senior advocacy class with Ashley, but I really couldn't work in the junior class because Kara and Marion did it, and like we were assigned in the beginning. But I really liked it because she like modeled it. It was kind of like an international relations class because she modeled it as like the UN, and what you basically would do was you would like given an issue, kind of like a debate in a way. You'd be giving an issue, and like you have to work and think of different ways like that this would work like throughout the class. And it was modeled like a UN class. And they would think of different schemes, and they would observe these problems in the world and like what people have ultimately done to fix them, or like solutions. It was really interesting, I must say. So we're just gonna change up a bit. Okay. So I'm going to go into my last reflection with Jen, and I'm just going to give you like an overall summary of like everything, like whatever. Okay, so I must say, like, Jen is probably the best CL ever. She's awesome. I really got to connect with Jen because we had a couple of things in common. Her being in the honors program as well, and she was and I found like throughout the semester, she was very easygoing with us. She always worked with us, always worked to help. She was just an amazing person, and she really, like, changed my outlook a little bit. Like, she changed my outlook on global studies because of just her self-determination. And she's also in Tom King's global economy class, and we used to talk about that and how she would prepare her debates, and it really interests me. And she used to say, like, how he would, like, enlighten her with different types of economies and like just show her different perceptions of the world. And I don't know, I was just really able to connect with her. She really, like, when we had our last reflection and she's going to Argentina next semester, like, we all were like very upset because we're ultimately gonna all miss her. And you know, she was really great with us. She worked well, and I was really like admire the fact that she like went back to PAIS after like her service, and she went to go work with Miss Lalo, and ultimately like she inspired me to go back to PAIS. And you know what, she made my experience at PAIS something that I'll never forget, as well as Miss Lalo and the students at PAIS. But ultimately I do want to go back to PAIS, and I want to help the other students, and I want to do it next semester hopefully. And when we had our last reflection, she also got us cupcakes. And it was really nice, and we were talking about everything, like our futures and like what we hope to do. And I was telling her, I always mentioned to her that I want to go into international law, and she also works for the public defender's office, so like I always talked to her about that. It was just a really great semester with just a great CL, and I really appreciated her help throughout the service, and you know what, I had a great time, and yeah, thanks.
I'll wait for you.